That's what, yeah, I wasn't actually sure. Did Michaela ask you about it yesterday? If like we should even be putting it on the notice of the meeting or the- Because it says participate, but I don't, no one can actually participate.
We should use the language the planning commission has where there are notices for that, where it's like your watch.
Oh, yeah, it's just
But
updated.
we should also disable the raise hands.
Oh, it's all disabled,
Okay,
yeah, I
because-
think.
Yeah.
I can raise my hand because I'm the host of the
I
webinar,
see, I see.
which doesn't make any sense, but I
This
guess
is
you can have
our-
multiple hosts.
Right.
But the participants, if anybody comes in, we will just see that they're an attendee, but they can't. It's a webinar, so all they can do is view. So, and the one good one, it hasn't come up yet, but what I've done, oh, and there's no chat option either, but you can see like if somebody's gone in and it kind of like is official and then if they have time later. But I don't know. I don't really know what the point is at this. But
It's, yeah, it's why we can't have nice things because people's inbound. And
Yeah.
Do you want me to let him in or you want me to?
oh, please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks all.
I really like this keyboard. My skill. It's got like really nice looking sound. It's very satisfying clicking out. Although it might for everybody else. We're getting 2 new planners soon. So I'll have a new desk made, but I don't know.
Oh, good
Hello
morning.
there. Good morning.
You can take these 2 seats
Yeah.
and we can close that door if you don't mind. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Well, we'll still give the 2 minutes to officially start at 10 in case
Okay.
any
Yeah.
member, since it is officially a public hearing,
Okay.
the 2 minutes. But an official one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can introduce ourselves.
I haven't gotten any calls on my, have you gotten any calls?
haven't
from
gotten any
public
calls,
members?
no.
I'm Leilani, assistant planner, and I've been assisting Kavita Kumar on this project.
Yeah, and I'm Kavita Kumar. I'm the principal planner supervising the project. And so we are from M Group with the planning consulting, helping the city, get through some of the backlog that they've had. Transition reasons. So
Yeah.
we're helping with your project.
Okay.
and, We're here today and Renee is going to be the zoning administrator.
Right.
Well, my name is Sean Ranchi and, our family was, we're in sanitary. And, so thanks for this. It'd just be nice to get this done and so we can go through and move on.
And I'm Mike Culpepper for Jinsey Architects. I'm the applicant for. So,
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
Thank
Yeah.
you for responding to reviewing the conditions and responding. That's always helpful for us.
Good, good.
Thank you.
Right, well, before we officially start, I'll say I grew up here, so I've gone on many field trips to the sanitary. And I always tell people, I'm like, we have a really nice recycling center. There's
Thank you.
peacocks. Yeah. It's, I don't think usually, I've learned in life that most people didn't even take field trips.
Well, you know what, my father-in-law started with, ticks. So, he got tired of seeing all the waste going in the dumpsters, that we collect, so he started with piggies.
Oh,
And then that just made it to where it is now. He loved peacocks, so we had a lot of peacocks and chickens.
yeah.
So it's, and the kids, they love coming, they love seeing the animals, they love seeing everybody wants to be a garbage man, when they come out.
Definitely.
Do you
Yeah.
show them the military?
No, we don't get into that. That's pretty much kind of private. I mean, if there's groups, older groups that want to come in and see it, we'll have show them that.
You're aware he has a large collection of military vehicles that often are in the parades, 4th of July.
I know the
other
parades. I
events,
didn't
yeah.
realize that's where they were coming from.
Yeah,
Wow.
we've gotten rid of quite a few, but now we're, so now I think we got 35. We did have 86 at one time.
Wow.
Including tanks. We can see those rolling down the road.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Well, we'll officially get started. I do not see any members of the public here on the webinar, but we'll keep it up as the hearing goes, just in case, although I don't think anyone can participate now. So here we are, officially welcome to the zoning administrator hearing for 1050 Anderson Drive. This is a request, I'm gonna read it as is for the record, a request to approve a minor environmental and design review permit for the replacement of 3 existing underground storage tanks and associated equipment with a single 12,000 gallon above ground storage tank, along with 2 dispensers and a 45-foot by 26-foot canopy cover lighting and regrading of an existing driveway. This is here at the zoning administrator hearing as an accessory structure over 120 square feet on a non-residential property requires a minor environmental and design review approved by the zoning administrator. So how the meeting will run, I'll ask that our project planner provide a brief description at that time, after which the applicant is welcome to give a presentation if they like. Following that, I, as a zoning administrator, will ask any questions that I have, and then we'll open the public hearing for comment, should we have any members of the public join. Physically, there is an attendee on the webinar who, Gary Klein, is that a member of your team or is that a member of public? Yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
So I'll speak to the members of the public who may join on the webinar. I am not sure if this option is available any longer, as this is a webinar. And we've changed our policies regarding public hearings. But if you are able during the public hearing portion, you may dial in *9. I believe the raise hand function. The raise hand function is available. We can take comment that way if not *9 on a phone. If that option is not available, which I will just repeat that it may not be per our current regulations for public hearings, you may contact the planning division or the project planner following the hearing and we can officially take any public comment. Or not as public comment, we can of course have any comment from the public following the meeting. So with that, I'll ask our project planner to please introduce the project.
Hi, I'm Leilani. I'm the project planner for the project at 1050 Anderson Drive. I'll be providing a brief summary of our staff report that we prepared for this project. Starting off with the project description, the proposed project at 1050 Anderson Drive includes a demolition and closure of 3 existing outdated underground fuel storage tanks and associated equipment consistent with section 25292.05 of the Health and Safety Code, which requires a single walled underground storage tank to be permanently closed. The project also consists of the installation of 1 12,000 gallon above split fuel tank with a height of 8 feet 6 inches, which will be used for fueling marine sanitary service trucks and equipment. Additionally, the project would involve the installation of 2 fuel dispensers with an 18-foot tall canopy covering an area of 45 feet by 26 feet and associated lighting. The project entails the construction of a concrete tank foundation slab and concrete fueling slab with containment, berm, and catch basin. A low retaining wall will be constructed on 3 sides of the tank slab. The existing paved driving aisle will be regraded to accommodate access to the fueling stations. Overall, the estimated cut fill of the proposed project consists of 17 cubic yards of cut and 102 cubic yards of fill, with a disturbed area of 4,615 square feet. The project entails or requires the following entitlement, which is the environmental and design review permit, pursuant to Centerville Municipal Code section 14.25040 BG and section 14.25040 B3D. Accessory structures on developed non-residential properties over 120 square feet in size and parking and loading areas, including driveways, require minor environmental and design review permit, subject to the zoning administrator's determination. Staff has made findings on the proposed project with regard to the environmental and design review findings in section 14.25090 of the Centerville Municipal Code. Starting off with the CEQA finding, staff has determined that the project is categorically exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, and none of the exceptions of section 15300.2 apply under the CEQA guidelines. Staff determined that section 15301 existing facilities in the CEQA guidelines applies to the project, which we've determined that the project proposes minor alterations to an existing facility to remove single-walled underground storage tanks consistent with section 2529205 of the Health and Safety Code, and will replace these tanks with an above-ground storage tank that meets the Regional Water Quality Control Board regulatory requirements. The project also includes installation of associated fuel dispensers, driving aisles, and monitoring and emergency equipment. The project is proposing the removal of the 10,000 gallon unleaded UST, a 6,000 gallon unused UST, and a 10,000 gallon red diesel UST. The project proposes the installation of the 12,000 gallon above ground storage tank, which is a reduction in capacity from the combined capacity of the 3 existing USTs. The project will result in no or negligible expansion of existing combined capacity of the underground storage tanks to be removed. So, project, also, we applied the section 15302, which involves the replacement or reconstruction from the CEQA guidelines exemption. The project proposes replacement and reconstruction of existing underground storage tanks with an above ground storage tank to comply with the regulations of the Regional Water Quality Control Board, which requires a single walled underground storage tank to be permanently closed in accordance with the Health and Safety Code. The new above ground storage tank will be placed on the same site as the underground storage tank to be replaced and will serve substantially the same purpose and capacity as the underground storage tank. Additionally, we applied section 15330, which involves the minor actions to prevent, minimize, stabilize, mitigate, or eliminate the release or threat of release of hazardous waste or hazardous substances from the CEQA guidelines. The project proposes removal of single-walled storage tanks, which is a minor cleanup action as required by the Health and Safety Code, and will eliminate the release or threat of release of hazardous waste or substances. If a project qualifies for the use of the categorical exemption, then the lead agency must determine whether the project is subject to the exceptions to the use of the categorical exemption pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15300.2. None of the exceptions to the use of the categorical exemption as applied to the project, none of the exceptions to the use of the categorical exemption apply, such as the project is not located in an area where it may have an impact on environmental resources of hazardous or critical concern. B, will not result in cumulative impacts. C, does not involve an activity where there is a reasonable possibility that the activity will have a significant effect on the environment due to an unusual circumstance. D, will not result in damage to scenic resources within a highway officially designated as a state scenic highway. E, is not located on the hazardous waste site pursuant to section 65962.5 of the government code. And F, will not result in a substantial adverse change in the significance of a historical resource. As none of the exceptions to the exemption apply, the project would not be precluded from the use of the class 1, class 2, and class 30 categorical exemptions. Therefore, no further environmental analysis is needed. Additionally, staff made findings pursuant to the standard environmental and design review findings, which include finding A, the project design is in accord with the general plan, the objectives of the zoning ordinance, and the purpose of the chapter. Finding B, the project design is consistent with all applicable site architecture and landscape design criteria and guidelines for the district in which the site is located. Finding C, the project design minimizes adverse environmental impacts. Finding D, the project design will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, nor material injurious to properties or improvements in the vicinity. And moving on to the conditions of approval, staff recommends that the proposed project is approved with the stated conditions of approval. The conditions of approval that are applied to this project are standard. One that I want to point out for the record is the permit validity condition of approval. As stated, this permit shall become effective on May 22nd, 2024, and shall be valid for a period of 2 years from the date of final approval, or May 22nd, 2026, and shall become null or void if a building permit is not issued or a time extension granted by May 26th, 2026. A building permit, if required, is issued and construction has lawfully commenced. A permit for the use of a building or property is exercised when, if required, a valid city business license has been issued and the permitted use has commenced on the property. And moving on to the public comment section of the staff report. Notice of hearing for the project was conducted in accordance with the notice requirements contained in Chapter 29 of the zoning ordinance. A notice of public hearing was mailed to all property owners and occupants within a 300-foot radius of the subject site and all other interested parties. 15 calendar days prior to the date of this hearing, no public comment has been received by the date of this staff report. Both Kavitha and I are available for questions. If you guys happen to have any, thank you. That is the end of my presentation.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you very much. So, the applicants, if you'd like to add anything, you're welcome to at this
I think
point.
she covered just about all that we had to cover ourselves, so
Right.
I don't think we need to add anything to that.
If I may add, the conditions of approval were shared with the applicant team and they reviewed them and they had no.
Fantastic. I do have one question, on the condition, 12, providing a lighting plan and the deferred submittal. Is that, so the canopy, is a part of this? The canopy itself, the actual structure, but the lighting is gonna come at another time. That's the intention. Will that be coming through planning first, or is the intent to have that be included in the package for the building?
That was filed back in January, I think, February, I can't remember exactly. Both the electrical deferred, which covered the lighting
Okay.
for power. And then the lighting associated with the canopy, I believe is in the canopy drawings, which were also submitted as a deferred submittal. We haven't seen any action on that, checking the online records, so maybe they're waiting until this final hearing
Yeah.
is
would
resolved
be-
before going
yeah.
back to the check.
Okay, fantastic. That is certainly the case. I just want to note, in that respect, that any lighting proposed is held to the city's light and glare standard.
Yes.
And there is a 90-day post-installation period. So should there be any concern with excessive glare, that can be addressed at another time. So thank you all very much. With that, I will officially open the public hearing for comment. We don't have anybody here in the room with us. And we do have one member of the public here on the webinar. We may not have that option available any longer as a policy of the city of San Rafael, but I will give about a minute for if anybody comes to the door or is available to make comments. So we'll just hang tight for a moment and let that public comment period exist. A recent change. Been having hybrid meetings for a while. They're now down to in-person only, which is
It's better.
as planning
Yeah.
commission and city council is, so we're following the guidelines of all public hearings. That was about a minute. I'm gonna count in my head, but I saw the clock change. So I'll talk for 15 more seconds to say, with that, I will close the public comment period. I do just want to say we always accept any notes from the public regarding any public hearing, excuse me, any items, public hearing or not. And there is also a 5-day appeal period following the decision made today. So any member of the public, resident or non-resident, or the applicant, should they feel necessary, can appeal this project. It's a $300 fee for any resident of the city. And I apologize off the top of my head. It's a little bit more than $300 off the top of my head. I don't have the correct numbers written down as our fee schedule was just changed. But there is a fee associated, needs to be submitted to the submitted to City Hall within 5 working days of the decision made here today, which will be 5 p.m. next Wednesday, I believe is the 21st. Any appeal made in that time will get processed as necessary, and the decision would be brought to Planning Commission to reevaluate. If there is no appeal, then correctly stated in the findings, May 22nd would be the effective date, which is when a building permit would be approved. So with that, I see the findings that were made in this report. The accessory structure meets the design guidelines as well as the environmental guidelines for this project. It is a very large accessory structure, which is appropriate for a non-residential site, a site that is being used in this way. This is also a planned development district, which was created in order to address this very particular use of this property. And the accessory structure with the tank is appropriate within that. So with that, I will, as a zoning administrator, conditionally approve this project with the findings and the conditions listed in the staff report. A set of meeting minutes will be published shortly and made available online. But following the end of this meeting at 10:16 today, we have finished the meeting. Any anyone is available to appeal the project as they see necessary. So with that, I will end the hearing and close this down. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yes.
and
you.
best wishes.
Goodness.
Yeah, once the minute